going on, everybody, and welcome to one of the greatest episodes of the Legion on Zoom. I'm so excited I'm fucking stuttering because, guys, it happened. This is the Snyder Cut special. We're here. We all saw it, and I want to start this episode. Oh, by the way, this is Chuz.
This is Miguel.
This is Rod. What's up?
I want to start this specific episode with a straight up fuck you to Joss Whedon.
Oh,
A sharp and direct, like, hey, Joss Whedon, fuck you, sir. That's crazy.
very, very well deserved. Fuck you. And I also then want to say a very much congrats to Zack Snyder.
Yeah, that's
for this incredible historical moment in cinema history.
Word.
And I also want to give a shout out to all of you guys listeners out there. If you've been following us from the very fucking beginning, we've been literally talking about this since episode 1, which came out in July of 2020. And it's here. Fuck. It finally fucking happened, guys. Shit.
Right. I tend to have a hard time letting go in general, like in my life. And I didn't care how much people said, like, this is never going to happen. Oh, just forget about it. If there is anything out there, it's so raw and underdeveloped that it's not worth seeing.
Jesus.
But nah, the Snyder Cut movement, like the fans made this happen. They literally made dreams come true with this. And I am ready to deep motherfucking dive on this epic adventure that we all took yesterday.
And not
only
the
20th for fans, March 20th.
And not only as per like our usual, like standard quote measurement of going balls deep, we're also putting in the balls this time too.
Damn.
That's how deep we're going in.
Yeah, and before we move any more forward with this, before we move any more forward with this, we mentioned it before that we were trying to do this drink of the week, right? And so for this week we have a special one. We got fucking the Snyder Cut. So for this, we're drinking day drinking. It's a lovely Sunday afternoon, which we're recording on a special day just for you fans. We got Harpoon Big League, wonderful IPA. Why is this appropriate? Because it's big and juicy IPA, just like Snyder, which was a big and fucking juicy ass film.
Yo, I dead ass thought you were gonna say Jason Momoa is big and juicy.
Well, that goes without saying. No? There were so many gratuitous scenes of him just taking his shirt off that I was like, yes, bro, you got.
And you know what? I would actually call this whole movie an IPA because it's interesting, it's passionate, and it's also atmospheric. If that's a word. Did I make that up?
No, that's a word. That's a word.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And it's got, and IPAs tend to have this little bitter taste to it, right? Because it got the hoppiness to it. And Snyder's not bitter in a bad way, but it's like, it's a drama, right? It's a serious fucking thing, perfect. Not that fucking Whedon shit we saw years ago.
Oh my God.
And I don't want to be an apologist. But I kind of gotta stick up a little bit for Whedon on this one. He did the job that he was given.
No.
His job was to like finish off whatever ties the Snyderverse still had and just change everything, write Darkseid out, edit what seemed like 4 hours of content down and include his own take right on the whole storyline, because I'm sure he wanted to do that as well. But like me being a diehard fan of BVS Ultimate Edition, which then made me a big fan of Man of Steel, like it was in the reverse, and just wanting to see the true sequel to BVS Ultimate Edition. That's what drove me. That's what made me so passionate about this movement and about Zack Snyder's story. And you know what? I feel like, just like if, for married folks out there, not that I'm married, but you need to renew your vows every once in a while. And I feel like as a lifelong DC fan, this was a vow renewal for me. It made me remember why I'm a fan. It made me remember why I'm so passionate about this stuff to begin with. But anyway, I digress. Let's dive in.
Do you digress? Do you? Because
I need to stop. I'm gonna save my emotion for like the later half of this episode.
But speaking of that, I think when we're on that, you're not trying to be an apologist, como se diga, whatever the word is for Whedon. I would like to get, Ches had immediately said no to that. I want to get, what are your thoughts on that, Ches? How do you feel about Whedon now?
Bro, like, it's obvious that, like, some of the choices he made them knowing they were dumb. Like, it's obvious. Like, for example, look at all the awesome shit that they took out when it came to Ray Fisher. My God. And a quick sidebar, I feel like he's more pretty than he is handsome. But like, it's like there's something about his face is like, that's a beautiful
really
man.
Left sidebar.
Yeah,
like,
but
okay.
I don't know. But it's like he's like insanely attractive, but it's like that's a very pretty man. But anyway,
yeah,
exactly. But it's like it's so obvious, like all of his scenes. I mean, was a lot of that stuff already supposed to be in the original, or was that all like actually just made for the Snyder cut? A bunch of the stuff with him, because there were rumors that like a lot of his stuff got taken out, right?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that the Ray Fisher scenes, except for the epilogue, which we'll go into, all of that was already filmed.
That's bro, that's insane. That's insane. And the part where like the father, who by the way, deep cut, was also another scientist in Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah.
That guy's known for playing a brilliant man.
Yeah, word.
He also played a good scientist on the Science Town show Eureka. They got canceled by Sci-Fi. Go check that out. Awesome show.
Oh wow.
But anyway, but yeah, that guy, when he was breaking down how powerful Cyborg is, I actually finished the sentence for him when he was gonna say the whole like the whole epic part is like not doing anything with all the power you have. Like, I know that's where I was going, because I love how that established how powerful he actually is. That was insane. That was insane. But all that stuff with Ray Fisher, like the conscious choice to not include that, I was gonna say Jeff Whedon.
The combo, Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon. Damn.
Joss Whedon, you're a dick for that. Like, shit. The fact that he made Batman drink and tell jokes, Joss Whedon, you're a fucking dick for that.
Okay, let me okay, so what he had to cut out content, right? Just to keep it to, less than 2 hours. So what else? I'm not saying that he was justified. Joss Whedon was justified in cutting out Ray Fisher. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he was given a job, and like any guy, he did his job. Like, I don't, and we saw some amazing Ezra Miller scenes that were cut, right? And we can't necessarily call, or can we, blame racism or whatever other reason or drama for this. But anyway, let's dive in. Let's dive in.
Yeah,
all right. And I'll just provide a middle ground to that. We'll discuss this probably a little bit more in our chapter comparisons coming up for the episode. But I do think I'll give them more. I agree with both of you, because I can imagine how hard it must have been, right? You have these 4 hours of scenes, and it's unfinished yet still, right? To some degree, and put it down in 2 hours and, or less, right? To make it fit. It's not an easy task, and their style and directors are very, very different, right? That being said, it seems like he made the worst choices possible.
Exactly, like knowing that they were the worst choices. It's like he laid all his choices out in front of me and constantly picked the worst ones. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go this shitty route right here. Like, all right, is that where the shit is at? That's where I'm going.
Much like Warner Brothers. Right. It was their fault. It was their shitty decision making that made that fucking 100%. Version a reality.
But oddly enough, and this is a conversation that I was having with my girlfriend about the movie, that it's kind of interesting. It's like, in a way, you have to abhor the WB executive, but also kind of appreciate how callous they are just sort of making a profit. They're willing to eat this much shit and be wrong, knowing that they're gonna come out winning either way. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, wait, so I have to eat this big pile of shit to make that much money? All right, fuck it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of have to give them props in a way, because at the end of the day, it's also the executives who greenlit this round too. Which is kind of like, I think they saw themselves fucking up so badly that it was like, you know what? This might just be crazy enough to work. That's how desperate they were. And they pulled it out of their butts, collectively speaking.
Very, very true. All right, but exactly. Now Let's fucking dive into it, guys. Let's dive into the fucking movie.
All right. So chapter 1, title is Don't Count on It, Batman, right? So right off the bat, okay, the movie opens. I love the opening with Superman, screaming after he gets impaled by
Right,
Doomsday.
for the prologue, right? Exactly, for that part.
Right, for the beginning, for the credit. And of course, this is gonna be a spoilerific deep dive, of course. So
Right,
if you
right.
haven't seen it and you care.
And I think it's
now,
obvious. And I think
go
it's
watch
obvious.
it.
And I think it's obvious to tell for the fans out there. Also, overall, we loved it. I think just in general, very much. I think we all are on board. It was a great movie. Even myself, who I I don't like Snyder.
I was about to say that means a lot coming from you.
Oh my god, I'm almost. I feel like I've been converted over to. I'm like, okay,
right,
that's what you're doing.
And there was a bit of a course correction because I think Zack Snyder actually started to lighten up the movie because tonally this movie is very, very different from BVS Ultimate, which I just finished watching the day before. So I can see that both tonally how they were different. But yes, the movie begins.
How so different?
No, I think that part of the reason why BVS Ultimate or BVS in the theatrical cut didn't perform as well as it could have or should have in the box office, again, which led to the interference from executives, of course, was because it was very dark and the plot was very complex, a lot of moving parts. And then, of course, Zack, being Zack, he filmed like a 3-hour flick. I'm sure somewhere in the archive there's a longer cut of BVS Ultimate, which is already the long cut. Apparently he had more footage for Justice League as well. But anyway, yeah, it was very dark, very complex, and even upon multiple watchings, it's hard to put the pieces together. But anyway, that being said, in this movie, it was brighter. You got to see Bruce in the light more. He even takes off his mask more. It wasn't as ominous as BVS was. So you can see that Zack was already starting to change it up a little bit. Does it still have its dark parts? Yes, but of course it has to be true to the storyline and how it began with Man of Steel. But yeah, the story kicks off with just a longer scene of Bruce traveling to the village where Aquaman is supposed to reside, and you get this really epic spanning adventure of him like climbing mountains a la Rocky 4 and all that shit.
Yeah, word.
But yeah, that's like
yeah, no, and even from that exactly, like I actually, so like I'm actually now motivated. I want to watch the BVS Ultimate Edition. I used to not want to watch it. I just watch it just because Rod says it's good. But now I really want to watch it. And like what you're saying about the tone and the complex plot, that's one of the things that I love the most about the movie, right? You think it's a 4-hour movie, you're like, oh, fucking shit, like 4 hours. But it's worth it, right? Because it helps the story. Because my biggest issue with BVS and with the Joss Whedon Justice League is that the plot moves a lot in weird ways and it doesn't make sense, and it pisses me the fuck off that, right? That you're asking too much of the viewer to just go with it. And with these
get this.
Yeah, like that. Don't think too much about it. Just keep going. But the way it is with these 4 hours is like it makes sense. Like narratively, I'm okay with it. We'll discuss a little. There's a couple of things I still didn't like, right? But nothing major. They're like nitpicky things. The story makes sense. And even with the beginning, I think it was really cool that it showed us, right, it starts with the end of BVS in a way, right? With fucking Superman dying after killing Doomsday. Yeah. And that his fucking death wails, right? Fucking Scream travels around the world, which I thought it was a little, silly, but it's a comic book, right? It's like, all right, that's fucking dope, and it's epically shot, and it's cool, and that activates the fucking mother boxes. Just with that, that's awesome. All right, because then that makes sense, right? Because before it was like, wait, why are the mother boxes turning on now? Like, what happened? Why do we care? And
right.
And now it's like connecting it to the other movie and why it matters. Like Steppenwolf later says that the mother boxes noticed that the Kryptonian was dead. I'm also thinking that the Kryptonian fucking activated himself because of his powerful death wails, whatever. Yeah. I'm like, either or, it makes sense. And I'm like, and that's because then it sets the stage, right? Because then it's like, oh fuck, everybody's on high alert. Like, what's happening to these mother boxes? I'm like, all right, wonderful.
My only thing is that for some reason, I felt like throughout the entire movie, they failed to describe the relationship between the Kryptonians to the fourth world technology. You know what I mean? Like, why did a Kryptonian scream at death activate the tech from the New Gods? Like, why? Like, what's the relation there? You know what I mean? That wasn't explained, and I feel like that might have been a quick and simple and important breakdown that could have been done. At least for me, that did feel important. Right. On another note, I felt like this shit was so good, it kind of reverse engineered the whole DC like cinematic universe and made it better in reverse. Because now if you go back and watch Man of Steel from the beginning and end with this, it's a fucking experience. Every movie is better now, including Wonder Woman. Like, if you go to the beginning and watch this shit until the end, every single movie, you're like, oh shit. Like, it's weird. Like, it made everything better backwards.
I don't know if it made Wonder Woman 2 better or
no, I'm not
better.
I'm not saying like, it made them shits Oscar worthy.
The movies, at least around that time, definitely better. Even especially the Snyder movies, because I do think I see his story now.
Exactly,
right? Man of Steel connects to BVS, connects to this.
Exactly.
Like, all right, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I want to ask you guys a question, though, and I think mostly for Rod. I think Rod, the one thing I didn't like about the first, the prologue of him Batman going in to find Arthur Curry, was like, because he goes to him and says, there's bad people coming, right, and we need to get together. Why? How did he know that villains were fucking coming to Earth? Because I like later on we see that. From Themyscira, they send the arrow, then Wonder Woman finds out and she knows what this means, and then she's learning Batman, like, they're here already. Like, was that from BVS?
That's a really good question, because I was thinking the same thing as well.
The Flash came to him, while he was sleeping.
The premonition,
the premonition.
Involved. Right. Okay. And then also that chilling scene at the end of BVS Ultimate where, I'm just gonna say BVS. Where Lex Luthor is telling him that the bell has already been rung. The bell has been rung, and they heard it. He's in the bars with his face squeezing. I thought that scene was really cool. Jesse Eisenberg, say what you will about his Lex Luthor, but it had some redeeming qualities, and I did appreciate seeing him again in this movie, and we'll get into that too.
Hell yes. All right.
And then with that, you add together that he is a master detective. You know what I mean? Like, you smear some of that on, and you got boom.
Right.
Apocalyptic attack.
That's a good point. All right, I'm with it. But see, for example, that's what I mean. Like, these little things, it's like, it's okay. It didn't fuck with my experience of the movie, right? I'm still like with it. Like, it doesn't matter. And then, because obviously, then after this epic scene of him trying to find Arthur Curry, the dialogue that they have is just wonderful, much more dramatic. Then we have the epic fucking Diana Wonder Woman scene. That we saw some of that before, but not like this.
The effects got better, I think. The effects got better, and they definitely used that rated R.
Oh, yes. Lord, yes.
Yes. Yeah, and very quickly about that. It was easy for me to start to fall out of love with Gal Gadot and her Wonder Woman after 84.
It's Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Yeah, but then again, I of course went back to BVS, whatever, for my annual rewatching, and it was never an issue with Gal being Wonder Woman. It was the direction, because Snyder just shoots her and shows her in an awesome way. She's moving at like really high speeds. I don't even think we got any of that in 84 of her was whooping butt like that.
I think we did. But not with the obvious end results of the violence, because it wasn't rated R. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we got like there was definitely like a full on hello. Like, she was on the highway running with trucks, like full gallop running next to cars.
I feel like what we've seen Snyder do with Wonder Woman is like, we see she is an Amazonian.
Exactly.
And then the Wonder Woman that Patty Jenkins is playing with, she's
a role model for young girls.
It's a woman with superpowers, a human. It's a human woman with superpowers versus Zack Snyder. It's like, no, she is a goddess. She is an Amazonian fucking demigod, right? And we see savage. That, right? And then also really, really not, como se dice, letting, toning down the Amazonian part, right? That you are a warrior. And we saw that when she fucking went in, just killed some of them, fucking either paralyzed others and like epically. And so so fucking good.
Facts. And I love the fact, like the Steppenwolf, like he like when they drop little hints like that, like you're different than your sisters. You have the blood of the old gods, and then at that time, like they also showed, like a bit of the old gods at the beginning at some point. So it's like things interconnected in
Yep.
such light and tasteful ways.
Yeah, and I want to discuss that, but since you said Steppenwolf, let's just quickly talk about that because we have to.
His armor was lit.
Obviously,
oh
this
my
is the
God.
superior. I mean, we're gonna save most of the comparison talk for later, so let me also abide by that rule.
Fine.
But yes, this Steppenwolf was the invasion of Themyscira was just much more intense, longer. I felt like.
Well, of course, hell yeah, it was
Everything was just awesome, and you can feel the tension. They're trying to race away, and you know what's funny? I deadass caught myself wondering what's gonna happen next because we kind of did. I'm sure as you're watching it, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember something like this, and I kind of remember how it played out. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Like that's what I really like about this version of the movie. That even though you may think you know everything because you saw the 2017 version, you don't know a shit because you need to watch this version.
yeah, like okay. So and just a quick sidebar, WB execs, since you're into experimenting, like if at least one of you happens to hear this show, 7-part miniseries, The Amazons of Themyscira, HBO Max. Holla at your boy.
Yo, we'll talk about that. We have on our section of future.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine.
Perfect.
Fine,
exactly.
fine,
all that
fine,
is there.
Fine. But to piggyback off what Rod was saying, there are so many things that are so different that people need to watch this version. Like how Steppenwolf got the second box. Completely different, if I'm not mistaken. Completely different. Because remember, for the second box, he literally just appeared, took it off the car, and left.
Took it out of the what now?
Off the car,
It's
right?
a third box.
No, the second one is the Atlantean one.
Yeah, Atlantean one.
How he got the third box was completely different.
Oh yeah, you're right. He kind of just showed up, grabbed
took the box and left. That's it.
How did he do it? This in
no, there was a whole thing because remember, like the doctor took the box in the lab. And
oh my God, yes!
Completely different.
Silas Stone.
Once again, like the brilliant dude. We have to find out his name and put him somewhere on the narration box. Shout out to that guy. But like,
you're right. I hated that part. I remember in the original of him like just showed up, yoink, and I'm gone.
Exactly.
It's like stupid. But this was, oh my God, that scene was so fucking meaningful.
Yo, hashtag fuck you, Joss Whedon.
and going with that, we were with the beginning about when Steppenwolf shows up and all of that too. Like I felt the stakes were high, like even like Rod said, like we know how it's gonna end in a way, right? Obviously, there's a lot of surprises, but like I really did feel that Steppenwolf was an actual threat. Obviously, first of all, because he looked fucking frightening and badass, right? And vicious the way he would attack, and then the parademons also. They didn't look like. I think your Justice League version made them look like the from the Justice League animated series, which is fine, but it's cartoony, and these ones look like fucking scary, like fucking aliens, and it was just fucking like that. It was wonderful drama, intense action, very well done.
And I love how like Steppenwolf was all like humble and like super subservient, but then you saw the League of Power that he was playing in. You know what I mean? As opposed to the one that we got in the the one that we got by this asshole was fucking like all confident and shit. He wasn't ashamed of anything. You know what I mean? He was just there to conquer. This one had so many layers.
Even that, because I think from the Whedon version, I also hated Steppenwolf, not just because of how he looked, but also just I didn't care about the character. I don't give a fuck about, all right, sure, you're doing this to please daddy, I guess. And in this movie, Snyder really makes him a character, right? And you said there's layers, like him meeting with Desaad, right? Trying to get him like, please, you know, let me, you know, this is what I want to do. I have to do this for, you know, and I believe that the stakes are high for him, right?
Yeah,
He's not just
exactly.
some random villain that like, I'm going to conquer because I conquer and that's it. And no, it's like, there's fucking stuff there, history, and like even what you said, like he mentions old gods and indicating that they're the new god. Like there's so much richness there.
Yeah, man. Like, oh my god. Like, I'm shocked at also just the difference in dialogue and how efficient he was. Like, they gave you all of that just with a few lines of him talking to Desaad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the dialogue between them gave up so much lore and so much story. I'm mad that they could have inserted a bit of granny goodness when they were like, you know, like in those
Yeah.
stone communications. I feel like that was like a kind of like a lost opportunity. They could have brought in, you know, like her in so she could like make fun of him a little bit or something like that for his failure. You know,
Right,
some
right.
shit like that.
Right. And not to jump the gun to the future, but you know, there's supposed to be a part 2 directly
Yeah,
following
word.
this part, and that's when they were gonna go to Apocalypse and take the war to them or whatever.
Oh. All right,
But
so
yeah.
what's next? We basically went ham into fucking part 1, right, and a little bit into Steppenwolf. What's the next?
Let's go to the past to Darkseid's when he was Uxas, right? His first arrival to Earth.
Oh my god,
which is cool, right? Because then
that's
you
so
get
dope.
like the armies, you know, of that time period joining together on some what is it, 5,000 BC Avengers shit.
Yeah, word.
Like you know, you have Zeus, you have Green Lantern, you have the Hippolyta.
Amazons,
Yeah,
Atlanteans, fucking like the armies of man, which is basically like on some Skyrim shit, like, you know, a bunch of
yeah,
Dragonborn type
and
people.
and you got Ares again. You know, speaking about how it makes Wonder Woman more important and more interesting to watch. Ares played a big part in fending off Uxas or Darkseid. Let's not be too geeky. Darkseid
Yeah,
in
word.
his first appearance. You know, like that was really cool. You had Zeus and Ares and all these powers. That was really cool.
That was insane.
Exactly, that whole scene, because I remember I liked that in the first version, right? Because that was actually one of the cool things, but it was not as cool as this version was, right? Also, because we saw in the original one was like Steppenwolf was there, right? And that's the point, the Steppenwolf attacked in the past, and it's fucking Darkseid. And there's this epic battle, and we see Darkseid fucking killing this Green Lantern that's there that I Googled and found out. So it's this a Green Lantern called Jalan Ghur, who's like some random Green Lantern from the Silver Age or something. Nothing really special.
Yeah.
But I guess
because it was a long ass time ago.
Yeah, so that would make, you're right. Oh, that's a good point. So it makes sense. It would be like a Silver Age character. Like it couldn't even be
Abin Sur.
Exactly. And that epic fight with Zeus and fucking his kids fucking attacking them, and then like you said, Rod, with Ares fucking putting in a final fucking blow to Darkseid for him to retreat. Like,
didn't you instantly think about Infinity War?
Oh yeah,
right, with the axe. Doesn't Thor fling his axe and catch Thanos?
Yeah,
it's amazing how these two companies mirror each other in so many ways. Like instead of the mother box, you have the Infinity Gauntlet. You know, that's a device that can revive, and these are both very similar movies. You know, and it's a bit bittersweet. It's not all like a celebration, at least for now, fans. At least for now, because they do leave like trails for a potential sequel. But we'll dive in.
My whole thing that I didn't get like about the part where he came to Earth was okay. So they refer to Earth as like the lost world. Is it like after he lost on Earth, did he lose track of where the planet was? Because it seemed like they've been looking for somewhere they've already been.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that's basically my big, I have two complaints to the movie, and then one was the question about Batman finding Aquaman. But my one biggest complaint is that, because it's framed around that, you know, right, that Steppenwolf is like, when he has this also moment later on and about revisiting the memories of the past through the mother boxes, he realizes that the anti-life equation is there, right? And like, it's again, you're saying like, this is the lost planet. I'm like, motherfuckers, did you not have like your version of Google Maps or something? You know,
you've been there before.
Exactly. Like, what do you like? Darkseid was literally there, and it seems like he knew the anti-life equation, like, right? So it's like, why is all of a sudden that, like, wait, what happened? Like, how did you forget how to get back there, right? Especially because later, it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter, but like, because later on, Darkseid says, you know, we'll go there the old-fashioned way or something like that.
Yeah, word. I wanted to touch on that too.
Right. Just to respond very quickly to that, I like that Darkseid isn't all powerful, right? Because that's a thing that these movies run into, like Superman and like, you know, Wonder Woman, like they're getting pummeled, but they're kind of like invulnerable to being pummeled. So that's never a way to kill them or some shit, unless, you know, you stab them like Doomsday did. But yeah, so with Darkseid, it looked like without the assistance of the mother boxes combined, he didn't feel confident about an invasion. So like, he has limits, right? He has, because he got defeated before. So he probably, I mean, not again, this is a big plot hole, I think.
I'm about to say, like, remember how he got defeated, though.
Yeah. But you know, it just, you know, again, I don't want to be an apologist, but you can take it to mean that I got to rewatch the scene, but I'm going to say this. You could take it to mean that Darkseid didn't know what Earth this guy was trying to conquer at the time. And he's like, oh, by the way, I'm on the Earth that the anti-life equation is on. Because we're assuming, I mean, I don't know, again, I might be wrong on this completely. But when he's talking to Darkseid, does Darkseid know he's on Earth?
I think at that point they tell him that, I guess, because I think at that point maybe it seemed that Darkseid was out of the loop. It seemed that it was just this Desaad dealing with it, and Desaad said like, once you get all mother boxes, we'll talk.
Bureaucracy.
Yeah, no.
It's like, no, I haven't brought it up to the top yet. Like, it's still in middle management. It's like, to make a machine like Apocalypse run, you need, you know, like, there has to be some bureaucracy and order and paperwork.
Yeah, because Desaad was like, okay, you only have 2. So, where's the other one? Hurry.
Yeah.
It's like, getting 2 wasn't even worth telling Darkseid about.
Right.
But again, I got to watch it again because I think that's a very viable thing to point out.
And even I do want to say, like, let's say, that's the biggest issue, right, with a movie. It doesn't kill it. It doesn't matter. Like, all right, so what? No movie is perfect. Who cares, right? Ultimately, and then, you know, because exactly, then I have way more trust and confidence in Zack Snyder that he will make sense of that if he has the opportunity to do Justice League 2, right? And that's what I love about this, right? Like, that's the worst part, honestly. It's like, oh, all right, it's not big of a deal. And it is, I'm sure people probably didn't even notice, you know, either. Who cares?
True.
Yeah, I again, I just want to make another point out. I don't want to get overtake this broadcast, so please stop me if I am.
No, do it.
But I feel,
it's a big day for you.
It's a big day for you, bro.
I also feel like that, you know, Zack Snyder has had his movie. I don't think, again, I'm just talking on my ass, I don't think Martian Manhunter was a plan yet. I'm thinking he was destined to appear. I'm thinking that was meant to happen in Justice League 2. Again, I'm just saying this, and I'm saying this because it's quite obvious that the Martian Manhunter scenes are a post revitalization of the Snyder Cut edition, you know, and the Nightmare shots, of course, that as well. Because but everything else in the movie was already filmed and he just had to finish it, right? But he did add 2 nuggets. He added the epilogue, which we'll dive into. And then he added the Martian Manhunter nugget, because I don't think that heart-to-heart that Martha Kent has with Lois Lane to bring her out of her depression, I don't think that was meant to be Martian Manhunter. And it's quite awkward to have him.
It was so shoehorned.
The general. He could have just been the general and went to give her heart-to-heart. That would make a lot more sense. But yeah,
exactly.
That's my issue with the movie.
Right. And I think, and then and that's in the next section, I think, right? Which I think, or in one of the next 2 parts, so that it lines up to what we're going. Because that's the other issue of the movie. Exactly. The how they kind of shoehorned in Martian Manhunter specifically in that scene. Word. Because that was weird. Because that's also feels also like kind of like gross in a way. Like, why are you the fucking mother of this dead god Superman? Why are you impersonating her to talk to the widow in a way, right? About like it's weird. Exactly. That's just like, wait, why did you have to? And like, as you're saying, if he would have gone as the general, it even makes sense if he follows the story where Sam Lane, right, Lois's father, is in the armed forces or something, military. I don't know what he is. And so then you can say like that's how you know him, and that's why he's a family friend or something. And
and they have a relationship in BVS. They have a
right.
relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
guess
Oh
okay.
yeah, word. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
they do. They have a him, because he revealed to Lois that the Middle Eastern incident was a setup by Lex Luthor to set up Superman and make him look like he massacred a village, whatever. And he was the deep throat working with Lois Lane.
You see what I'm saying? Is like all this shit is spread so far apart because it took so long to get here that it's like it's hard to click it.
Right.
But it's like, but at the same time, still, I'm not gonna front. I see what they did with the Martian Manhunter, because in my opinion, I think their sentiment was, all right, we may definitely not get a sequel. I'm gonna shove this design in there so people can see it and be the consequences. But look, it's awesome. Look at it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
All right. And that takes us to the next part of the movie, which I think could be one of the best ones, right? Like it's the beloved mother, beloved son part, where this is the heavy fucking Flash and Cyborg section, right? This is that section, right?
I'm not 100% sure, but let's run with it.
Let's run with it. God,
Sounds like
I love Flash's. I love both of their sections. Like it really adds so much more to the story, because even that about like how they get involved, why does it matter? I love that. And then us seeing Iris West and their cute little interaction at the beginning, which got then a little weird with like Iris was staring him down though for a while, like she's in the car. I didn't like that, right? That she's in the car. And she gets in an accident because she was staring at fucking Barry. And then also, obviously, the guy needed to eat his burger and he couldn't.
I definitely think it was more the guy's fault.
Yeah, but still, like, I don't know. Like, also, it's kind of like creepy.
He was love struck.
I guess. But that section was cool. And then it was fun. And it just seeing Flash, like, really, really made me want to watch a Flash movie. Like, I can't wait to see him in action.
And I'll bring it up again. I hate the weird, subtle Tai Chi-esque shit they try to have him do. Like his swimming, running style. And the fact that he was like a stretcher's run at some point before he started to book it. He was in like that weird yoga pose. With one leg stretched out to the right. Anyway, whatever. But it's like, I enjoyed that scene. I just hate the way they made that Flash run. But the effects around his speed and how he affects everything around him, how he has to be so gentle and shit, like that was amazing.
Yo, how cool was it that when he saw the accident happening and he went into fucking,
his shoes,
burst.
That was awesome.
Oh my God.
And then like the one thing that irks me is like, okay, bro, you shouldn't be struggling to pay your tuition. Like being a delivery guy should be so easy for you. Like you can make so much money just being a delivery guy to pay your tuition. So much that like, why are you struggling to find weird jobs? I don't get it. Just do deliveries.
Nah, you're right. But remember the lesson of Cyborg that you mentioned earlier, that he has all this power, but the true power comes in not abusing it. Right?
Yeah, but how is that abusing it to make deliveries? What? He's gonna like destroy the delivery game? Like,
how is he more likely to get caught? Because, and he has that back and forth with Cyborg too. I forgot what chapter that's in when they're digging the grave, and then Wonder Woman and they're digging up Clark, and Wonder Woman and Aquaman are just chilling like an awesome, like a fucking Gap ad.
Wait, but by that logic, if you think about it, if you think about it for real, he shouldn't have made that lady rich. He should have stared at her before and then just walked away and not do nothing. That would have been real self-control. Like, props, he gave her the 100,000, but a real stoic moment would have been he sees her struggling and then just turns and walks away.
I feel like the more stoic moment would have been to like not be there when she sees the money.
Right.
That also true. Like, hey.
But I guess he can see her anyway through the ATM camera.
Exactly. So why are you there in person though? You know, that's a little bit like a little like
Just to make
ego
himself
kind of
feel
thing.
good,
Yeah. No, but that scene was great. And also just a quick, but like the thing about when they were digging, which is the next section actually, when they're trying to get Clark, when they're digging the thing, I also did think like, yo, Flash, just do it in a second. No, like aren't you super fast? Like you could have just done this all. Like, I got it. Boom, he's out. But they're like, nope, let's do it at regular speed, just because. So that was a little weird. Anyway, but the scene, the cyborg stuff was great. Oh my god, like really getting to know the character, getting to know his trauma, right? And how his relationship with his dad and coming to terms with his powers. That was great. That was super fucking cool.
And once again, that shows it right there. So imagine this fucking prick, Joss Whedon, fucking just sitting somewhere and then legit just making the decision. All this shit with Ray Fisher, yeah, we don't need that. Just cut that.
Honestly, I think, for example, you're right. To Rod, like Joss, he was doing the job that he was assigned to do. I really do think if I was him, if I was a director that, you know, tapped to do it again, I would have straight up gone to the company and told them, guys, no, like it's gonna be shit. Either you tell me to do a new film from scratch. Like if I can start it from scratch, okay. But I can't, because there's like too much. And no, like either let's do it, let's have it be a long movie, right? And we'll keep it as much as we can. But because then to choose to force himself, because nobody had a gun to his head to do this, right? He chose all these things, you know, which made it much, much worse.
Like, but exactly, it's clear that there was a conscious choice.
I mean,
to drop all of Ray Fisher's shit.
I would rather like praise Snyder's triumph than spend too much time talking about Whedon's alleged failure.
I believe our hearts have the capacity for both.
Yeah, no, but I think that it was a special opportunity for Zack Snyder, man, to not only release his film, to have closure, a sense of closure maybe with it, and for the fans as well. Oh my God, I can't tell you personally how much closure as a fan this gives me. The film that I would like it to compare it to, and I mentioned this when I watched it with Miguel yesterday, was Days of Future Past. Tonally, you know, the time mumbo jumbo and funkiness, the heart behind it, and the course correction. Because remember that Bryan Singer had to leave the project. There's some parallels with those stories as well. He left the project. Brett Ratner came in, finished off 3, and it was a shit show. Bryan Singer came back and he's like, I'm gonna make this beautiful film that brings in Matthew Vaughn's additions to the lore and my piece. I'm gonna give my fans their last story, because it kind of ends in a great way. If that's your last X film, it could be, unless you want to continue with the McAvoy Fassbender. But anyway, I digress. Like with this film, I felt like, you know, he came in, although he didn't close it, he chose not to completely seal the door. He left 2 doors wide open. And again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we're going to go into those 2 doors in the futures section as well. But yeah, it's a rare opportunity. It may have never happened had we not had the quarantine and then this huge rise of this online movement. Man, just to bring this movie and make it happen, because I think this is going to be a while before we see another Justice League on the big screen, right? Before they assemble once again. Yeah. And I think the closure and the finality that we get with this cut, it's priceless for me.
And speaking to Snyder's fucking, let's praise the man for the story he's telling with these sections too. I think he really, because also thinking about how hard of a job they had from, you know, because Marvel had this compared to like Marvel and Avengers, right? That they had the time, right? To a movie for each character, for you to get to know them, get to love them, and understand at the end, right, how it's connecting to this big, massive movie that eventually they'll all be connected, right? And they didn't have that luxury, right? It's like, all right, boom, boom, you know, Super Man of Steel, BBS. All right, now let's do fucking everybody together. But now with this long story, they really allow you to do that, because now I like that stuff. Like it makes sense how they all connect. Like for example, with that extended Flash scene, it also now makes sense how, because when Batman shows up, Batman shows him a photo of what, you know, when he did the whole save of Iris West, and And like in which, so then it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Batman's been monitoring. It's like, all right, now he's active. Let me get involved. We need you. Like, and also with the big overall story of like Steppenwolf is out there getting the mother boxes. It's like a much more rich, what then leads to the next section, which I didn't like from the original movie, is then because in the last movie, the next section is then let's get Superman back. Let's bring him back to life, right? Well, before we get into the whole scene with Cyborg and then them trying to get that, because I think this is when that happens, when they're trying to get the third box, right? Or that happens after this? I actually don't even remember at this point. Right, no, first they bring back Superman and then they get the third box.
Then the third box is taken by Steppenwolf.
Right.
Yeah.
And even that, I really liked how, because before it was like, all right, let's just bring Superman back to life because fuck it. And let's see, we don't know how this works. Let's just fucking do it. And now it felt like, one, I understood the reason, right? Because they saw what these things could do. They had some idea of it. And then they're like,
there was a detailed breakdown.
Like Flash had that scene. He's like, we're all thinking it, right? Like, we're all thinking it. Who's going to say it? And then Cyborg has that image of Superman, right? And it's like, we got to do this. And then the hesitancy of like, should we not? And blah, blah, blah. And it's like, now I get it. It makes sense why you need Superman back, right? And why they go through the, everything next.
And then also remember, we had already kind of touched on this previously, but how Steppenwolf got the third box. So how did they find the base in the original one, his stronghold, after he took the third box? Does anybody remember? Because I don't remember how.
What base? What do you mean?
His stronghold base after he took.
The one in like Russia. Right?
Yeah. How did they find it?
Another great point.
Because then remember. So in this one, in the one that exists now, only this version, the one that matters, he didn't find the box on top of the car. It was taken by Silas, who superheated it. Then he took it, which allowed them to track it because it was the hottest thing on Earth. Total sense. Total sense. So it's like, I don't even remember, like, fuck you, Whedon. I'm gonna say that multiple times during this recording.
Yo, and bravo, Snyder, that section, that whole thing about like when Silas grabs the mother box and like runs and then locks himself in and then he like tries to destroy it. Well, in the moment I'm thinking, you're trying to destroy it. It's not gonna work, bro.
Yeah, I thought the same thing too.
And I thought right in that moment, I felt like, well, that was a cheap death, right? I felt like, oh, you're just trying to make me feel bad for Cyborg. But I'm like, that was a stupid development. But then when Cyborg says like, nah, man, like he did it on purpose to tag the mother box so we can find it. I was like, oh my God, your dad's a hero, motherfucker. Like,
word.
He's a genius, which lines up that he is a fucking genius. He's a badass scientist at Star Labs. And then it just adds so much richness to the story and connects to the next part of how to find them.
But the question that I want to answer, considering the fact that he is a genius, did he have to be in the room when he pressed the button?
No, I think the issue was because he was going to step out, but Steppenwolf showed up in the moment. So he knew that if he steps out, he's going to get killed by Steppenwolf.
Okay.
So it was one of those things like, I'm safe here.
Imminent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah.
He's like, I'm safe here. I'm going to lock myself inside. Too late. All right, too bad.
Because no lie.
He did the podcast.
Yeah. Because no lie. Yeah, like in that. Yo, fathers play epic roles in DC.
OD.
Because I kind of had to go through that thought process when I saw like that Batman wasn't going anywhere when they were fighting Superman and he was just trying to make his way towards Batman. It's like, yeah, strategically speaking, he can only stand there and wait for Superman. There's nothing else he can do.
Right.
And two things. Notice how in that part they took out the stupid ass fucking joke. Oh, there's something bleeding. That part got taken out because it was stupid.
And yeah, the dialogue of Superman asking him like, "Do you bleed?" or whatever it was. Like, ugh.
And what's up with Batman?
Remember the Snyder one is the original one.
Of course.
What they added, they didn't take out that bad joke. They added it into into the travesty that came out in 2017.
Further proving my point.
But technically, yeah, this is we saw the original version. Well, yeah, we saw like a version of the original.
Like what it should have been, right?
I don't understand why Batman has such a fucking like old school like grappling gun. That shit has like a wood grain handle and shit. Like why isn't it like more like high tech like all his other shit?
Oh, speaking of, that's another thing I love about the movie, that they had a lot more Alfred scenes, right? And his
Word.
involvement, and then also making sense, like Alfred was building him the things to go in his wrist, right? To be able to deal with like these epic, space lasers and shit like that, which came in handy when fucking Superman is trying to kill him, shooting him with his heat vision, and he's blocking himself, and it obviously is too much. He has to take his fucking glove, whatever thing is, off, and that makes sense because it also gives you the context of like, right, how is Batman gonna deal with all of this if he had to build a suit before in BVS to try to fight with Superman. It's like, good, exactly, this is the shit we need, and it was just wonderful.
But doesn't like you get him in the chest in that scene at one point?
But he's blocking himself with the thing.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh shit,
And,
like he just got him. But
yeah,
you see fucking context, and yo, shout out to Jeremy Irons. This might be my favorite Alfred. Shout out to Jeremy Irons.
Oh my god! And shout out. There's also, we got way more. Finally, J.K. Simmons as fucking.
I was gonna mention that. I had that in the back of my mind. Yeah, we get longer scenes and just a whole lot more of him, which was really cool. A lot more Gotham.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rod, because also I think it's in this movie, Gordon, right, says that when they're seeing like there's parademons all over, and then people are like, it looks like Batman. And then he's like, he's been fighting crime for 20 years. Like, he's not just going to do this. Is this the first time they give us a time frame? Because I love that, to understand, like, oh, man, Batman for 20 years.
Yeah, and BVS, they touch on that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
So cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Now, the only thing I don't get is about that whole thing with J.K. Simmons. Like, why was he getting Bane-type swole? Like, what, to look good, like in a trench coat and a button-down shirt?
Yeah.
Because if y'all remember, there was some like brawling J.K. Simmons.
Yeah. But that's just him. That's just him living his life.
Respect. All right, fine.
He just likes to lift weights.
That's just him being J.K. Simmons.
I'll throw that up.
Yeah, facts. Shout out to J.K. Simmons.
Oh my god. All right, so then all this builds up to Superman comes back, and then Lois is there and snaps him out. Beautiful scene. Goes back to fucking Smallville and shit. I loved it. And then he goes back to his lair or whatever it was.
That part was a little bit weirder for me because it seemed as though that the entire narrative, again, I gotta draw comparisons to the X-Men films and Hugh Jackman being the center of the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning of Man of Steel, obviously Clark is the center of the narrative. BVS was maybe a spiritual sequel to Man of Steel, right? But you can see that they're vying for screen time, Bruce and Clark. And then I guess in Justice League, it kind of becomes the Bruce Wayne show in a lot of ways. And I kind of felt like, even though we got 4 hours, I didn't feel like I got enough of Clark Kent about like the effects of his revival and how he came back. Because I sensed like a Lazarus pit kind of deal where, he jumps out semi-insane for a moment.
Right.
And I guess you can also use Wonder Woman's lasso because she does tie him up for a second.
Yeah.
And she's like, remember who you are, Kal-El. All fucking dreamy and shit. And he starts to wake up there. And I do like that. Again, I don't even remember if this happened in the remake, whatever. But that in BVS, Lois saves Clark from Bruce is about to stab him with the fucking spear. And then in this one, Lois runs out and saves Bruce.
Oh.
Like that, and that's why she's kind of like this the key to this whole thing and shit like that. So
poetry,
right? And I like what you're saying exactly about the Superman. But I kind of like that it was more of a Batman because it show. Because I feel like narratively it makes sense. Like, a Superman's been dead, right? And I think it makes much more sense now if they're gonna make a Justice League 2, right? Because with the Justice League 2, that's when hopefully we would dive into, well, what happened to Superman? Like, is he completely okay now that he's back? And diving into that a lot more, especially with, like you're saying, Lois is the key, because technically they haven't really shown that yet, right? And they set it up to show like that's still a fucking plot that hasn't been shown yet.
Yeah, where I did like I really liked her sorrowful scenes. Like she's living in an Adele video, basically.
Yeah,
Her
word.
life, her whole life is a music video.
It's a montage.
Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. Like she's all tragic, but I do like that they touched on the fact that she's depressed.
Yeah.
And like I like that. She brought the film down like back to
Yeah.
earth in a way in a lot of parts because like as you up the ante with these Snyder films, they get more and more intergalactic and otherworldly. It's fucking like, well, 5 Earths, 5 worlds, multiple timelines, and all this bullshit. But yeah, she was like the emotional center of it all, which makes that Martian Manhunter scene even more creepy. But I guess if he somehow knows about her being the key, he's gonna take the form of the person she trusts the most outside of Clark. I don't know. I don't know where the fuck her parents are, but anyway, I digress.
Word.
Yeah, but then the thing is, like how would he know that in the first place? As the Martian Manhunters, like, does he have access to like some sort of like insight into the future?
Her brain. Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Because like, how would he know? The
yeah.
the only person that's warned about her being the key is the Flash from the future. And by the way, now after 4 hours of exposure to Ezra Miller as the Flash, fuck him as the Flash.
Really?
Whoa!
Okay,
I was
go
not
for it.
expecting that. Why?
I don't like him as the Flash. Or at least like, or okay, I don't like him as Barry Allen. I'll take him as Wally West. It might sound like some jargon to the uninitiated, but it actually matters. The way he's acting, if his name would have been Wally West, would have made more sense. That's not Barry Allen.
Right.
It's a bad characterization of the name. You know what I mean? Grant Gustin does an excellent job of that.
No, I agree. That's also I like him as I like his character. But you're right. They're doing a very different version. That's not Barry Allen. Like Barry Allen isn't like the jokester like that, you know. That's more of a Wally West kind of thing, you know. But so what? It's all right. They're mixing kind of Wally West with Barry Allen
To be honest,
and adding
I didn't
honestly
even think
some
about
Peter
that. That's
Parker
true.
to it too. It's like there's some Peter Parker elements there, and adding it like okay. But exactly, but I'm okay with it. Like,
yeah.
it's so
Shit, to be honest, I'll go even deeper into Flash lore. Ezra Miller Flash, he strikes me as an impulse. Bart Allen.
Yeah. It's a lot way more Bart Allen. You're right.
Yeah, in the way he acts. But yeah, that was just me. Like, but it is what it is. It is what it is. However, when he went into the Speed Force visually, okay. Just I have this quick theory. So due to the rate at which technology expands, I forgot what principle that's called. You know what I mean? Like where tech expands like exponentially over time. Do you think that they were better to make the effects better now because there was at least a certain amount of tech that didn't exist like 3 or 4 years ago when the original one came out?
Probably.
That's a good question.
Because I was stunned visually, like when he went into the Speed Force, I was like, "Damn, that looks solid."
You're talking about now at the scene at the end of the movie?
Yeah.
See, because you mentioned that, I wanted to take one step back and talk about. First of all, I loved that. Okay, wait. Let me take another step back.
Yeah.
This is Bruce Wayne. Okay, regardless of who you love as Batman, we all love Batman. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
I think this is Batman Prime. This is the most advanced Batman we have ever seen on live action. His ships are on some shield. He had his own shield fucking level. Was that ship that they fly in?
I don't know, man. Christian Bale was pretty wavy, bro.
The thing that Christian Bale was getting, but even
it was getting there.
Exactly. No, now he's there.
And this Bruce Wayne has a tank. And that was also a post thing. Anyway, the assault on the dome with Steppenwolf.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that the Batmobile scene, I was way more invested this time around. I don't know if additional footage or me just being less like grossed out by the movie in general, but I was deep. I loved that assault, like the way they infiltrated. They took out, again, they didn't take out anything. Joss Whedon added some stupid shit about Flash saving a house. No. So anyway, I don't know.
Family and the dumb shit.
Yeah. But yes, I thought that was really cool seeing Batman just use all his toys, like maxed out on everything.
And of course, another fuck weed and sidebar. The whole thing looks super different without the red filter.
Oh my God, yes.
So like, so once again, he made a cut. He sat there and like, let's put a red filter on this whole sequence. Yeah, that looks horrible. Let's go with that.
Yeah, all that scene and that, like the Batmobile scene was one of the best Batmobile scenes we've seen, I think, in
Word.
live action. And it also, I don't know, it just made sense with the story. It was just very fucking cool to watch. And that whole battle scene extended with the parademons and then just the viciousness of like fucking Wonder Woman, Aquaman. It was just the fucking coolest shit. And I also like too that Flash was a little bit more with it. You know, you could tell
Yeah.
that he was the one that's like the least prepared one for sure. But I feel like in the other version, they really exaggerated that and made him more of the butt of the
Yeah.
jokes,
It-
and like really like, oh, how do I do? What
Yeah.
am I supposed to do?
It's kind of like, as opposed to being totally out of it in the stupid cut, he was like, you could tell that he was just like starting to learn in this one, but he was all vested in the learning process, as opposed to he was just like, oh, I guess I stumbled onto a crazy situation in the other one. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell that like he was down to learn to be a hero.
Right.
Yeah, and this one is weird because his power set. Notice how I think both times that he tried to supercharge either Cyborg or the Mother Box, we get glimpses into an alternate timeline. So like
So
that was kind of crazy, yeah. Because the first time to revive Clark, you get the first glimpse of like wild shit, right? And which we'll get into like into the nightmare segment of this discussion. And then the second time when he's gonna superpower Cyborg again, you see another divergent timeline and shit like that. So that again, shades of Days of Future Past. You know, you got your
Word.
speedster, you got all that shit. It was just
Right.
fucking epic. Fucking
So where
epic.
we're at now, we're pretty much
At the final battle.
All right, let's do it. Let's get into that.
dude, that sequence was, I want to watch both of those like back-to-back sequences from the original, which is the one we know and love now, and the stupid cut back to back. Just those two specific fight sequences, because that shit was amazing. It was complete. Like, they might have kept some segments of the fight, I think, here and there, but then okay, so they cut that fight to make it look stupid. Then once again, you know what I'm saying? Like, the original version of that fight made sense. There was teamwork. Things were going on. Yeah, they were struggling, but they were doing the damn thing.
Yeah,
Yo.
but just to close off that thought, I agree with Miguel. Like, if I feel like if Whedon would have been given Justice League from the get, you know, like he probably would have done his own thing, and it wouldn't have been a stupid cut. But yeah, you know, he got paid millions to try and finish up an art project that was never his to begin with.
Why? Because hit job.
Hashtag hit job.
Hashtag hit job.
Haters have infiltrated all levels of government, everything.
Damn.
Yo, but
Film industry.
speaking of that scene, that was one of the most fucking epic action scenes that we've seen in comic book movies, and as a team action scenes was fucking up there with some of the best that we've seen, like with Avenger movies, like the Civil War fights, the Infinity War fights, and it was up. It held its own, you know, with all the action scenes. And let's get into it with also. I loved also that how Barry had to be running to build up his charge, right? Because that's what they had to do. Because that's what happened in at the first time to revive Clark, and like all that fucking shit makes sense. And what blew me away the most about that whole scene is that genuinely I was surprised by what happened, right? That what ended up happening, right, is that he gets shot by one of the fucking parademons, fucks up, and then they're too late, and then it fucking the unity thing happens with the three mother boxes, and it fucking the world like ends.
Yeah,
That blew me a fucking away, man. Like, and then seeing Flash be like instinctively go so fast to go into like the Speed Force, the time, like, a ver, qué pedo.
And goes a few seconds back in time. Dude, that shit was fucking mind blowing.
Oh my god.
Just and real quick, just regarding that whole last sequence of events in the stupid cut. How did Steppenwolf die? Or should I say, how did Stupid Wolf die in the stupid cut? because
he got
did he
beat
die
up
or did
by.
he retreat?
he retreat really.
I don't remember.
No,
way-
both. It was like they did something to him that then the parademons went
took him away.
and then he opened the boom tube and then left with
Bro,
all the parademons with him.
The way he died was so epic.
Word.
Oh my god.
They sent his head to dark side.
Facts.
So all of that, right? So we get Flash going back in time to change shit. That whole scene is beautiful. Fucking, you see the world building itself back up as he's coming back to Earth, right from the epically. He shows up, saves the day, and then that last battle with Steppenwolf. With first of all, right, you get this epic moment of first of all, right, when it's like. Superman shows up, right? And that was right before that scene because Superman's back, and that was cool when fucking Steppenwolf was about to kill Cyborg, and then they fight, and there's all this stuff happening. Flash saves the day, and then to have first Aquaman fucking impale fucking Steppenwolf with the trident,
that was
epic.
hardcore.
It's like he's already dying. They're throwing him back into the fucking apocalypse, right, for Darkseid and all them to see, and then Wonder fucking Wonder Woman is nah. Let me get in on this for a second too.
Like, let's make sure.
Decapitates him. Fuck.
Facts. Damn, oh my god, dude, I just get like it was just so amazing. That part caught me so off guard in such an amazing way. Oh my god, like I can't. Fuck you, Whedon. Fuck you, man.
And Zack Snyder said in a recent interview, I'll post what show it's from. I don't remember the show's name, but it's a cool podcast. That basically just to finish off the story, there's an invasion. So then Darkseid at the end, he sees Steppenwolf's head. He's like, all right, let's go do this the old-fashioned way. He invades Earth, and this is when you get a reuniting of Earth's armies against the armies of Apocalypse. So like what played out in the first confrontation, where you have Ares, the Green Lantern, Hippolyta, that plays out all over again with his second invasion. A new Green Lantern.
Beautiful.
Anyway.
And just so the fans get an understanding of like the scope of magnitude that is Darkseid. He literally means that's not boasting. He has turned 100,000 worlds to dust in different realities. Like that's the level of power we're talking. It's not only like whole level cosmic, it's not only interdimensional, it's inter reality.
Well, I don't know about realities. It's still that same universe. Is that still that same reality?
Nah, bro. Nah. They're from they're from a different universe.
Alternate realities and universes. Let's jump right to the epilogue, gentlemen.
Word.
Let's dive in. We get to revisit the Nightmare universe.
Oh, which by the way, wait, I have a quick question. In the stupid cut, did Lex tell Deathstroke that Bruce is Batman?
No.
See, look at that. Look, I don't think he did.
No,
I was like, oh shit, when he said that.
Yeah, it's something. I think he made a joke of something about we need a League of our own or something.
That's it.
And then gotta be a League of Doom or something.
It's like a Tom Hanks movie.
Yeah, but in this one, he was like, Batman is Bruce Wayne. He was like, all right, so you just paid me, so I got you, bro. Like that was sick.
Damn, which is a bomb, right? It's a bomb to drop at the end of that movie. Again, there's threads that we may never see tied, but again, you got to be happy with what you can get.
I need that movie. I need that movie now.
Shout out to fucking Joe Manganiello for coming back as Deathstroke.
Yep, and also he came back in the Nightmare sequence, and that was
awesome.
That was shot after. And okay, given that sequence, we know it was shot afterwards because of Jared Leto's involvement, and for the nitpicky Snyder geeks, just looking at Ben Affleck, how much thinner he is in the reshoots.
Yeah, word.
So the fact that maybe he always wanted to make that scene, right? Whatever the case may be, but he brought actors back and he shot that scene. I think that's a good placeholder if he ever wants to come back to just finish the nightmare story. That's really all we need. And I think that was brilliant of him because he knows. I feel like he's like a troll genius, right? He's like, I'm gonna throw this out. I'm not gonna tie it up into a neat, perfect box. I'm not. I can. He could have, perhaps, right? I
But
can't
fuck
speak
that.
for him, but no, he left threads. So, guys, the nightmare sequence.
Yeah, no, because I think that's what I loved about this movie now about seeing his whole story because he's telling this big long story, you know, and I don't think he was planning on Justice League to be the end of that. No, of course not. And so that's why he's doing like, nah, I'm gonna end it like how I wanted to end it. And if and if he's given the chance to do another one, hopefully, he's be down for that. Because what I loved about it the most, because for example, in the BVS, I always found it silly how Flash looked, and with the mustache or whatever, little crappy beard and his suit, and I didn't like all that. And also with Lois being the key, it's like it didn't really. I don't think it made a lot of sense. And I liked that with this night, even the scenes of the nightmare world throughout the movie, that we see Superman having like Lois's dead body, and that kind of like dark side approaching him and putting his hand on his shoulder. It's like, oh fuck, like what Flash was warning is yet to come, right? And then that's what we see in this nightmare, because it's the Flash that looks like the one we saw in the BVS, with the mustache and the just fucking like apocalyptic world. And it's like, oh shit. So then leaves me excited because right now we know Darkseid is coming to Earth, right? What fucking happens that one, because something Batman does, Lois dies and Superman becomes evil because of it, right? What happens there, right? That we know eventually Flash goes back in time, and then hopefully they prevent it from happening or something. But there's like so much richness there.
Yo, for real.
Yeah. Yo, it's like it's awesome. It's still, the story keeps going. And my only other thing, I still don't like Jared Leto as Joker. It was okay. It's all right. I'd be fine to see it. I trust Snyder though, but it's like,
For me, like, it felt really good to finally see the Flash in that armor, because I've always wondered what the fuck it looked like in action. Always just seen is like the flashes, like of it in like like when he comes to Bruce while he's sleeping in the Batcave and shit. But to finally see the whole suit in fruition, that was awesome. The suit was legit. And to be honest, I was a little bit underwhelmed by the whole Jared Leto Joker Bruce interaction. Like I believe a little bit of the dialogue was frivolous. Like it was cool to see. Like it was awesome fan service in my opinion. But yeah, I was a little bit underwhelmed. But is it me, or does Ben Affleck Bats kind of look like he's always smiling a little bit?
Yeah, and also like we had paused the movie, and so we knew how much time was left. So seeing that they were just standing there having a discussion, I'm like, oh fuck, we're not gonna see anything cool. Like, yeah, not that it wasn't cool, but it was all like a precursor to something else.
Honestly, I feel
a glorified post-credit scene.
That took the words out of my mouth. It's like, because I feel like this would have been an epic post-credit scene, because that's really what it was, right? Because then Superman shows up, they're all like, fuck, he found us, right? And also we know that Wonder Woman's dead, right? That Aquaman is dead too, right? Because says like for what he did to fucking Aquaman.
Batman killed Harley Quinn.
Oh my god, right?
Or she died in his arms.
No. The way he was saying, the way he was saying it was like when she died in my hands, motherfucker. Like when I killed her.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think
that's how I took
it. No. Because Harley told him to kill Joker though, and that's what Batman was telling him. Like, in her last words were like, I gotta fucking kill you.
But that got to Joker, so it was kind of like he realized, like, yo, you fucking killed her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he would have cared that she died in his arms. I think he would care that he killed her.
I'm gonna rewatch that.
Let's rewatch it right now. Let's do it.
I don't want to believe that Bruce killed Harley.
Facts.
I don't want to believe that.
Yo, we'll see. Nightmare Bruce killed Harley.
But then having all that scene, right? Superman shows up, they all freak the fuck out, and then Bruce wakes up, right? And it's like, because then that's how the movie ends. Then he wakes up, and then fucking Martian Manhunter landed on his fucking backyard, and then that's how the movie ends, right?
Again, shoehorned into the movie, like, hey, I'm Martian Manhunter, bye.
And not just that, I don't think like it was impressive CGI wise either.
But the design was good though.
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was okay.
I think he was better on the CW than he was in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will get the hot pitch.
Yeah.
But yes, man. So let me give my clothing thoughts first.
Your thoughts are your clothing.
Yo, the sense of finality for me as a fan. I feel like a burden has been removed from my shoulders. I lived to see the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut is your reward, if you're listening to this, for surviving and prospering and keeping hope alive in 2020. And if you believe in something enough, it can come true. To sound like cheesy.
Disney right now. Yeah,
like,
you're a fucking Disney princess right now, dude.
So many questions were answered, and I'm not gonna fucking grow old wondering what happened to the Snyder Cut. Thank God. that timeline has been erased.
Now you can watch it until you're old.
Exactly. And it's not gonna be a bitter thing. And it serves to provide closure, but also leaves some doors slightly ajar. I would only ever want to see this come back again. I'm going to draw comparisons. If Matthew Vaughn-esque director who has a good vision would maybe do a movie within the Snyderverse, because again, the multiverse is what the product DC is trying to sell now, at least cinematically and on television. So, it's possible that Zack Snyder himself does not have to come back, but obviously not a Joss Whedon situation. We've covered, like Miguel said at the tip top of this show, that we've covered this in detail, all the drama behind the scenes. But yeah, I feel like, the movie's out, questions have been answered, the fans can finally fucking rest and restore the Snyderverse. That's my final 2 cents.
Thanks. Personally, I think is the most epically epic thing that has ever epicked in the history of all things epic. And also, we should get a Justice League 2 directed by either Quentin Tarantino and Michael Bay.
What? No, don't fuck it up. Nah, Tarantino maybe, but not Michael Bay. No, and my closing remarks are I have to eat my fucking words. If you've been listening to our show from the beginning, I had low expectations about this. I thought it was still gonna be shit. That it was just gonna be worse even than Whedon's version. And I am not just corrected. I am converted. I really liked the movie. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I at not point was either bored or annoyed by it. There's nitpicky things here and there, like any fucking movie, but overall, I really fucking liked it. It made me really appreciate his other movies a little bit more now. And I really hope, I want to know what happens. And like the stories that you can tell it's just endless, and I really would like to see him do a Justice League 2. And like Rod says, I would like for them to find directors and screenwriters that get it, that get the Snyderverse theme and stories, and do your own shit, but really do it within that world. And hopefully Snyder can help oversee to some degree, because I do obviously feel like Patty Jenkins, and I don't remember who did the Aquaman movie,
James Wan,
right? And like, I don't feel they didn't care about any of that. I feel that they were like, we're gonna do our own thing in our own, like, they're all, the tone is very different.
I'll slightly disagree. I think Aquaman and Wonder Woman are still pretty good, which is why they weren't necessarily focused on in Justice League, because their solo films, they're loosely part of the continuity at this point, yes, but I don't think that they diverge so much.
But I still think for those movies, for example, especially the second half, of Wonder Woman, the first half is cool, then the second half gets kind of crappy, and then Aquaman was okay, and Shazam also, you're right. It's like I still find those movies silly, like they're still like kind of like childish, like kind of like, I don't know, like it's not like in this movie. It's like, all right, it's like a serious drama comic book movie though, so a comic book. It's no doubt it's a comic book movie. but it's not like a silly thing for kids, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't know, and so that's what I would like. I would like somebody to keep that fucking tone. And do what you want, but do it within that world. Like, let's see Batman and Deathstroke fucking duke it out, man. Shit.
Which was supposed to happen in the Ben Affleck
Damn.
directed the Batman.
Damn.
But whatevs, you know.
But overall, I loved it. I'm gonna watch Batman vs Superman Ultimate Edition. Hopefully, like right now, actually after we're done with this, and
Nice.
and then
I would
rewatch
recommend
Justice
watching
League.
Man of Steel first, but that's just me.
I like that movie.
And at that point, you're doing a whole Universal rewatch.
right. All right, but this was fucking dope. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. I cannot believe it.
And they gotta address something. They gotta address some of this in the upcoming Flash movie. They have to.
They have to.
That'd be lit.
Something.
That'd be lit. And on that note, shit, instinctively I was gonna say, guys, we did it, but we didn't do shit. Snyder, you did it. Joss Whedon, you tried to undo it, you fucking asshole, but you did not succeed. To all the people out there who were the backbone of the Snyder Cut movement, the fans, thank you guys for giving us this amazing honor and pleasure of being able to watch this masterpiece and talk about it. Wow, I am blown away. I'm going to watch this shit one part a day for maybe the next 2 weeks. Like, wow, shit. And I'm pretty sure we're going to continue other shit that we notice in other episodes because it's like an onion. It's layers and we got to peel it. Guys, lovers, friends, love you guys. It was a pleasure. It was an honor. Peeps, this is Chez.
All right, this is Miguel. # restore the Snyderverse.
Word. # sequels.
Right. It finally happened, people. We did
It happened. Word. Peace.
Peace.